My name is Janice, and I'll tell you about my 2018 near-death experience. I died from drug overdose. Jump to the moment I realized my body was shutting down. I was suffocating from lack of air. But something tremendous and profound was happening in my body. I felt like the chemicals in my cells were warring, like an unfavorable chemical reaction. I was panicking because I didn't want to die. I'd fought with depression many times and thought my life didn't matter or that there was no point. But when something happens, you understand how valuable life is. In my head, I cried, "Please don't let me die. Please don't let me die." I recall someone helping me sit down. I don't know his next move. I know 911 wasn't called. It seemed like hours, but it was just a few minutes. My body was undergoing a chemical reaction quickly. I realized I had gone too far and was in serious trouble. My body and mind were filled with adrenaline and anxiety. I was on a couch, relaxing with my feet up, hoping it would help. My entire being knew I was dying. I literally felt my spirit leaving my body at that point. I want to die. Please don't let me die. I begged God not to kill me. I felt like my spirit floated into the corner of his living room, but I was clutching his hand. I thought that would bind me to this world. Since my body shutting down, I became hyper-aware of my organs and which ones were failing. My spirit was in the corner of the room, but I could still feel my body, and my energy began to trickle downhill, as if from my feet. I looked down at my chest and wanted my heart to beat, but it didn't. I couldn't save myself now. This was it. As I looked down, it was like the final heartbeat happened, and the body shut down, and I knew I didn't want to die. I closed my eyes and opened them at the most gorgeous place. The color was gray light lavender and seemed to change like a rainbow or opal. It sparkled yet was gorgeous. 3 translucent tall human-like entities were to my left. They were transparent. I could see their outline. I recognized angels. One offered his hand to me, and I understood that taking it meant agreeing to die. It wasn't what I wanted. I was terrified and not wanting to die at this point. I'm thinking about my life and how meaningless part of it was and how much I cared about it. Energy and love are infiltrating me just in front of me. Thank you, Jesus, for your sacrifice on the cross, is my first thought. Power was so strong that I felt the current going through me, like being electrocuted without pain. Do you remember being surprised but not hurting? Imagine that radiating into me. I understood how small and vulnerable I am in this immense presence. My appeal was, please, please, please don't let me die. I told this father-like apparition about my children. I told him about my children and desire to return, especially my youngest. I'm thinking about my elder 2 children and how they'll be okay, and I'm so sorry I blew it. My youngest child wouldn't remember me. My plea is confused and frightening, yet his presence is quiet and steady. I thought about what I did to get into this circumstance and felt totally recognized but loved. I didn't feel condemned or hated, but I did feel regretful that I had wasted time and become involved. Next minute, we're second. This place is outside in the sun, and millions of people are shoulder to shoulder. Everyone's staring at me without expression, not happy or sad, just waiting. I recall watching them from a platform with him next to me. I look at everyone and ask, "What do I do?" I recall leaning toward him and asking, "What do I do?" Since love is all around me, I could trust him. He answers, "Love them." I see all the faces and think, well, sure, that doesn't seem like such a big ask, seems so easy of a task. I replied quickly, yes, I could do that. If there was any chance I could return and be a mom, I would do it. Looking at everyone, he says, "Love them." And I say, okay, well, what am I going to say? Is it necessary to tell you why I was with you? He replied, "The truth." I was embarrassed to respond that, but willing to relate the experience. I add, well, what do I need to change? Referring to the tale and to myself, he adds, nothing, meaning give the truth, but the inference was that I couldn't change myself and that he would. I just knew I would confess the truth and everything would be okay. I agree, and I added, well, again, looking at all these faces and nobody stood apart. Nobody was off in this direction or that direction, like everyone was together. I knew his love was equal for everyone. No one was better or stronger than another. I said, "Okay, well, where am I going to learn everything?" He adds, "It's already inside of you. It's within you." I thought, well, okay, and I was back in that gorgeous place in an instant. I'm happy because I know I'll return. He didn't say, "You're going back." I knew I was coming back then. I'm grateful and excited to return. I felt like I was sucked into his energy, and the love became one with me. It became me, and I became love. This was atomic or cellular exchange. Next, I'm looking at my hand. I can see through it, but as I look at my hand, I realize I have a spirit, soul, and body. I'm learning what that means to me and why it matters. I see all these other people within him, but they don't acknowledge me or even recognize where they are. They seem to be living alive, but inside him. This is also when I'm remembering catastrophic events and beginning to comprehend their significance and the persons involved. In this context, things made sense, and childhood traumas no longer hurt. No anguish remained from my past. I felt whole and healed. I saw and felt so much love there that I want to share. Love is potent. It felt like love was in the air. I'm then returned to my body. I felt like I was back in my body and took the largest breath ever. Reborn, I'm alive and delighted. Then I said, "Love is the answer. All tales are true. Jesus exists. Jesus exists." My companion looked like he'd seen a ghost. His countenance was in absolute terror that I was talking. When I felt fire coming from my gut, it burned me within. Although it was incredibly hot, I wasn't scorched. It was hot but not harmful. I recall shivering, sweating, and thinking, "Oh my goodness, what does this mean?" I tried to converse in a language I had never heard before. I believed I said, "Love answers. The answer is love. The tales are true. Jesus exists." I believed I was saying that, but my companion stated I was speaking another language. My life has changed completely since this encounter.